So Formula One now, and if we fast forward in your current role, the size and the scope and the impact that it has had on the culture here in the United States, and you and I both know that was never always the case. In fact, you go back to the early 2000s, and there were more foreigners, non-Americans, at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for F1's debut there than there were nationals. You got to just I shake your head and say, what an enormous tide that has turned for that sport here.
It's
You know,
incredible.
going back to your first days, doing some Formula One work, America was never on the radar.
No, no, it wasn't. And to see the to see the transformation of the public's perception and reception of Formula One is really something quite remarkable. We at NBC we had Formula One from 2013 to 2017. It was five full seasons of F1 on NBC, and I can remember going. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time, and I can remember going to dinner parties or around to friends' houses or whatever, and you'd meet people you didn't know, and they would still say, "Ah, I remember the good old days when Formula One was still live on TV in America." I'm like, "What are you talking about? We're doing live every week." You know, it's like you still couldn't break through, and whatever you want to attribute it to, Drive to Survive, or the American ownership, or the corporate involvement in teams and drivers, the growth in or the amount of Grand Prix that we have
Yeah,
in the US now, whatever you want to attribute it to. Um, I just I just feel good about walking through airports or somewhere where you least expect to see it, and you see a kid with a Red Bull hat on, or you see an
yeah.
adult with a McLaren shirt on, or because that just didn't happen for so long, and so whatever you want to point your finger at and say that's the reason why F1 has grown so much in America, so be it. But it's great for the sport that we love.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about it. My first race was 1982, the streets of Detroit, and I was surrounded by South Americans.
Yeah.
I was 11 years old, and I was not with Detroiters watching Ayrton Senna or Michele Alboreto win that race. It's incredible. How about the state of IndyCar now that you're coming out of that season in NBC's contract? Give me the state of where IndyCar is today.
I think it's in a pretty good space. The racing is so amazing. It's so much fun, and for the 12 years that I did IndyCar, the best part about going to work each weekend was you legitimately didn't know who was going to win, and that's the greatest asset.
Yeah,
Keeping the track diversity, um, uh, and just the level of competition. To me, they were the big draws of IndyCar, that you never know who's going to win. You got some really great characters in the sport now. And For the 6 years that we had the Indianapolis 500, we had some amazing moments. Joseph Newgarden going back to back, Elio winning his fourth. There was just some incredible moments. And so I think the sport's in a good space. Um, I wouldn't mind or object to seeing them pushing the boundaries a little bit, and maybe going to some different venues while keeping the important ones in place. I desperately think they need to be in Mexico City while Pato Award's in the field, which
yeah,
has been a long discussed topic. All you have to do is talk about how successful Canada was, with Paul Tracy and Patrick Carpentier and Jacques Villeneuve and Alex Tagliani in the field, or now in more recent years, James Hinchcliffe, etc., Robert Wickens, so I wouldn't. I hope for Pato that the series does go south of the border and confirms that. And unfortunately, it could never go back to Australia in the same form. That track at Surfers Paradise has changed. The infrastructure around there has changed, so they'd never be able to race on exactly the same track. But that was one of the most loved races on the venue. And I'm not saying that because that's my home state and home race, but yeah, I wouldn't mind to see them move it around a little bit and maybe change some of the venues.
what a thrill it must have been for you to call those six Indy 500s. I mean, I was there early in the about 20 years ago, 20, 25 years ago, was my first race. And the history and the culture and the environment and the feeling in the month of May, as it used to be, it had to have been an absolute highlight for you.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And I never thought I'd get to do one. So to have
Yeah.
done six means the world. Just even if I did one, it would have meant the world. And I feel really fortunate because, as NBC has done so many times for me, they've put the faith and they've believed in me. And, while Jackie Stewart was involved there, and there have been other people uh, with foreign accents be in analyst roles, there's never been a foreign voice play-by-play for the American audience at the Indy 500. And I'm really proud of that. Um, I'm an Aussie and an American. I'm very proud of my naturalized American citizenship, but I still speak like I'm not from around here, as they say. So I'm really proud to have called the Indy 500 as many times as I have and have those great races and just that experience. And I think that the small little parcel that, hopefully I'll get to call it again one day, but if I don't, hopefully the small little parcel that I'll leave with people is, coming to the green flag, my catchphrase of this is, and always will be the greatest spectacle in racing.